of the services, because once a company go to the IPO, they become a public traded company. And so we can use the market cap and the stock price to say that is the value accepted by the financial market. Previously, if you have a large amount of pre-IPO, right? If you have a large amount of users, you have a business model, so that is a value that we see in the company. But later, after IPO, is a value accepted by the financial world. Okay, the internet, right? With all those applications, the impacts. The first one is the huge amount of data, which is related to the big data, right? Because in order to have big data, the first step is that you do need the data to be huge, right? Otherwise, if you go to an area, we don't have much data, not much you can do. Right? So the this shows number of internet users, right? They grow very quickly, and now they basically cover almost everyone in the world. In terms of the number of pages, right, for Google, right, then you can say this also grows very quickly. And nowadays, I think they cannot calculate how many pages they have, because every day there are so many new pages appear. And we will talk about this one in the part 3 when we go to the web structure. Previously, we even asked students to do a crawler for the web pages. Okay, so if you're interested in doing this one, so you can send me email. I can share you the code. Then you can use that crawler to get the web structure, for example, of Stony Brook University. Then going from there, you can do a lot of data analytics. This is a load on the first web server, and you can say here the horizontal axis is the time, it's linear, but the y-axis, the load on this one, this is exponential, right? So this is what people dreaming for. That is the exponential growth. Basically, as time goes, load of the user grow exponentially. This is a number of websites, right? It all goes very quickly. Here's a question we will answer in part 3, of course, will be, right, we have this huge web and of the pages, right? The web page. So what property does this network have? And we also want to go a little bit deeper, right? Because this is a graduate level course. We also want to know why does the network have these properties? And finally, how can we utilize those properties? Okay, now we already go through the history, a brief history of the internet. Now you can see at the beginning for a really long time, it's just go from the proposal to the prototype and to the first application. But once it's ready for that one, so there is a burst, right? We have tons of applications, and then that's the story that you guys know. Okay, for AI, right? So AI is also has a long history, right? It's longer than most of you thought, right? But recently there is a big, how to say that, research in AI applications, right? There are 3 drivers for the AI application. The first one is we now have a huge amount of data, like from the web pages, right, from the mobile smartphone, right, from GPS, in different type of the data, right, audio, video, text, logs, right. Now we have the data. And once we have data, we need a system to process it, right? From the hardware side, we have the warehouse scale data centers, right? So enable you to millions of use 1,000 servers to do the process. If you really need, like Google, they have millions of servers to process the data, right? That is a scale we cannot do without data centers. The second is that with the data, after you have data center, you need a software system like a Hadoop, like nowadays Kubernetes, the TensorFlow, like Spark. So the difference in this period compared to the personal computer period dominated by Microsoft is that Microsoft actually charge you for the operating system and also for the other systems, the softwares. Right. So because they charge this one, so this is their basic business model. And if you just go with a personal computer, they charge you already a fairly high price. If you want to deploy on server, so they will charge you based on each server and it's more expensive, right? So at that time, even you have a 1,000 server, you need to pay a huge amount to just have the software installed. In contrast, nowadays, the good news is that those softwares are just free to use. This is unimaginable, right? In 20 years ago. At that time, people have considered this is definitely the case. You need to pay, in many cases, a huge amount to use the software. It's still the case now in many areas, right? But now we see the value of the open source software, right? Because everyone can use it. Right? In our course, right, you can use that, right, as a class project without paying any money, right? You will have the free resource, right? The computer, the server you access in the assignment will be in a data center, but it's free for you to use. The software you install on that one is also free. And the libraries like TensorFlow, PyTorch, Python, everything is free, right? So I think this is like a perfect world, right? So everything is free, but there is also great business model behind that that motivate people to contribute to the open source software, right? And also because users now they can use them for free, it's greatly increase the number of users. And remember, we talk about the Metcalfe's law. When you have a large amount of users, even though the users are not paying you money at the moment, the huge number of users itself is the value, and which you can find some way to convert it into financial revenue in the future. This is a difference, psychological change. 20 years ago, when Microsoft is the biggest company, their philosophy is that we want to develop some great product, and then users need to buy them. Later, the reason we move into the Google era, Google's philosophy is that let's develop some great product, and then let our user to use them for free. By doing this, we will have a huge amount of users, and then we will try to get the financial revenue from the user base they eventually figure out that it's through advertisement. Products are great and free, like what I show here. But once they get a huge amount of users, they will try to figure out the way to get the revenue. Okay, so, but this is great for everyone, right? So now we have the system free to use, and there is also the economics for accessibility, right? So even you have the open source software, but if you cannot afford it, for the public cloud, right? You still cannot use it, right? Again, Wi-Fi 10 or 20 years ago, at that time, if you want to do a large scale processing, like parallel computing, what do you need to do, right? You need to first find the facility that be able to host the servers. Then you need to purchase, if you need maybe 1,000 servers, you need to purchase those 1,000 servers and then wait for the server to be shipped. Once it's shipped, then you need to hire someone to basically install them in the server room and to install the softwares. Most of them will charge you for the software license. And once you install them, before that is useful, you need to also do all the configurations, and you probably need to hire someone to maintain the system before you can use. So imagine, right? That is what you need to do in the past. But nowadays, right, we can simply just use the cloud computing, right? When you go to Amazon, you can just easily say, I want to reserve 1,000 servers, and the system will give you 1,000 servers. And then you just pay as you use, right? So roughly one server will cost you 20 cents, or let's say maybe a powerful one, let's say $1 per hour to use. So 1,000 server is a $1,000 per hour. If you want to run that for 1 day, it's 24,000. Then you can have those 1,000 server to finish your processing. But in order to do that in the old days, right, the problem is that just buying that 1,000 server will cost you millions. Right? This is the economics for cloud computing. Okay, so now I want to show you guys the website. Let's go there. This is the Amazon EC2 system. Right. First of all, everyone, you have the free tier. That is for every month they give you 750 hours free to use for the first year. Right. So this is a good perk you should take advantage of. Right. Then let me show you how to do this. So they are pricing. They have free tier, they have on demand. On demand basically when you need that, you just reserve it to use. And then depending on how much time you use, they will charge you. So originally it's by hour, but now they can do that by seconds. The small instance is that when other people are not using the system, then there are a lot of unused capacity, right? So Amazon wants some user to use this kind of capacity, right? As a result, as a reward, they give you a huge discount, up to 90% of the discount. If you want to use the resource only when the system load is low, right? As a trade-off, when the system load is high, your instance will be put on hold. This will be very helpful for users who actually I don't care that